Hello my friends, Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. I have just received a 22 watt laser cutter from Gluwphy, Gluwphy. I got it out of the box. I haven't undone anything other than took it out of the box. Now just for the record, the box was very thick cardboard and very well padded around this. There's no damage to this machine at all. You'll be able to see that they've also got everything else packed really well inside here. So let's take a close-up of the machine first and then we'll get into this. There you can see the machine, and there's the power button over here. Under the plastic we have an emergency stop button, and down below is where the power goes in, and this is the USB port. Over here is where you hook up your fan, and I believe back here is the air port for air assist. It's a plastic case, very lightweight. It just looks really nice. So let's open this puppy up and see what it looks like on the inside. I promise you, I have not done this yet. These booklets here were extra inside the box. It looks like the same booklet is here. We won't focus too much on the manual. We'll try to focus on the product. Here we have some cardboard. I would assume it's for patterns. This is a little bit of 1/8 inch plywood, about 3mm plywood for test printing, I'm sure. Looks like there's an update to some of the information contained in the manual. We may refer to this stuff later, but right now I'm going to just pretend like I know what I'm doing. Looks like this is the exhaust port for the air. You can see there that would spring around the hose. It's pretty obvious this is the power supply and the cord for the power supply. Here is a USB cord. This is only a 3-footer approximately, or about 1 meter. And here's the, looks like the air assist hose. And then this last little packet looks like tools. We'll just leave all that in the bag till we get to a point where we think we're going to need that. I can see this is the air compressor. A nice well-built unit, very stout and very heavy actually. It looks like you can adjust your airflow. It's got a low and a high. It's got rubber feet to pad it to keep it from vibrating when it's pumping, I'm sure. This looks like the place you would hook up your air line. Looks like we've got our exhaust hose that would go with our exhaust fan on the side back there. Looks like we actually have the laser unit itself right here. This is the autofocus, I believe. This is really cool. This thing has an autofocus, which is very cool in terms of laser cutters. Looks like this is where the air assist plugs in, and another plug plugs there. This, I'm sure, plugs into the unit back there somewhere. We'll figure all that out as we go. This is considered an all-in-one machine. It pretty much comes with everything. This is your honeycomb. It's just a good table to cut stuff on. Metal backing here that goes underneath it that keeps you from cutting through the machine itself. Now I will tell you something I've noticed that I think is very curious. If you look at Gluwphy's own video online, in other words it was produced by Gluwphy, it shows this filter down here with the white side toward the inside. There's a charcoal filter and then it has the white side. They show it going in like this. Interesting enough, the machine came in with it installed this way, and all of the YouTubers that I've seen show it this way also. I don't know that much about carbon filters, but my opinion would be that you would probably want it to go through this white paper and then be filtered by the carbon, because that would save the carbon, I would think. I don't know. It was installed with the carbon faced in, and like I said, all of the other YouTubers show it facing in. I'm sure someone will comment about it in the comments of why it needs to be one way or the other. You couldn't prove it by me. I guess it's time to start connecting things up. You have to get this installed first before you install the laser itself, otherwise this won't fit in there. Okay, Okay, well, you can't hardly screw that up because there's a tray that it actually fits in. Now this has markers on it on one side, so obviously that side goes up. We'll lay that in that same tray. You can't mess that up. I think we'll go ahead and get brave and try to install the laser. There's a thumb screw that goes in here that has to be at the top. That's what operates this limit switch for the up and down. So I know that that has to go in there. Here's that little screw that I was telling you about. Goes in right here. Put the screw through there, but now it holds this on too. I'll just tighten it lightly. Here's a bunch of screws that came with it. And then this has two little plugs on it, and it looks to be fairly obvious where they go. So I'm going to try to plug them in. You know, I don't think you can mess it up because one's male and one's female, and they got them kind of altered there for you, so you can't hardly put them in the wrong place. This has multiple holes and pins, so we'll line that up and put it in place. It looks like it has to go like this. Rubber hose here, fairly sure it goes down in this port right here. There's a rubber stopper there. Take out the rubber stopper, plug the rubber hose on top of here. I think that's all connected. I guess the next thing right here is just pull this plastic off the switch. Then we'll get the plug-in working. Not that we're ready to turn it on, but we'll get that working. And then we'll just plug that in. And here is the air assist hose. So this gets plugged in right here. I think we're good to go. So the last thing we've got to hook up would be the exhaust port. Okay, we've got our little screws here in our port. I'm noticing here that there's an extra fifth hole, and this port is going to cover this up. I think of anything that would go there, so I'm just going to go ahead and cover it up. Okay, so let's get our hose. And now I'll try to run this into something else. The other end of this is going to be totally up to each individual user on what it goes into. So I'll figure mine out, and then I'll show you what I did here. My friends, if you know me, you know I try to do honest reviews. Well, this so far has been the only thing that's been disappointing at all, and that's that this clamp is really pretty lame. It doesn't hold it on here very well. I mean, it works, sort of. You know what I mean? You put it on here, and then this clamp just doesn't get tight enough. If you don't bump it or move it, it's probably fine, but the least little jar and it pulls it right off. So we may have to find ourselves one of those screw type clamps that we can tighten down. That's what I have on the other end, and it seems to be working fine on the other end. But right here, that's what I got. Well, my friends, with the exception of these items here, and I'm not exactly sure what these are, and this item here, I feel like we're finished. I don't know where these go, but we'll look in the directions and see if these things are anything critical. I don't think they are. I think these might be for some sort of accessory or a future use. So the first thing to do is to turn on the power. You know, we'll have to turn that on, of course. And it looks like everything is powered up inside. You can possibly see down through there. There's some lighting going on the inside. My friends, quite honestly, I've lost track of where we are with the Gluwphy laser cutter in terms of my review. The reason is it's been a couple of weeks since I started this. And the reason for that is when I first got it and plugged it in and everything, I couldn't get the laser to fire. It wouldn't fire. Turns out there's a group of wires going up and down right here, and there's little connectors right here, right down in this corner. Once I plugged those in, everything worked fine. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago. After that, I was trying to do a couple projects, and it kind of quit in the middle of one of my projects, and I kind of thought it was a different problem, and I kept trying to figure out something that I did wrong, or, you know, it kept beeping on me like smoke alarms. It was just all kinds of problems, so I couldn't figure out what was going on. I figured out yesterday it was just those connectors again. Now, don't get me wrong. I tried those connectors a time or two, but after I got a reply from Gluwphy, they said it's probably those connectors. So I pushed them really hard together yesterday and it started working again. So there's a problem there. I just want to be clear about it. I don't know why those connectors are always so suspect. You would think they would put different connectors in there. I just want to let you know it's a simple problem. It's not a big deal. It just threw me a curve because of the way it occurred. Let's finish up this review and let's cut a project and we'll show you how well this thing works. Well, my friends, I have a job in here that I'm going to send right now. We're going to see how it goes. The job is a little screw separator box that would hang on the wall. Quite honestly, I can't tell if it's cutting all the way through or not. I may have to send the job a second time. That's not uncommon with laser cutters. Well, as you see, the job just completed. I'm going to see if I can tell if it cut all the way through. I don't really want to move it. I don't think it did. I'm going to send the job a second time because that's the safest thing to do when you don't know. In case you're wondering, this is just 3mm plywood, so I have it turned up all the way and I have it running at 600 millimeters per minute, which is reasonably slow. I would think it would cut through on the second pass, but it's hard to say. Well, my friends, it stopped right there with I guess a smoke alarm or solid beep. When it solid beeps, you can press the button on the front one time and it stops. It looks like it's done to me anyway. I think I'm just going to call that good enough. Let's send it back to home. You can press this button twice to go to home. The only one that didn't get cut out was this last one, and we're going to consider it finished. Okay, I believe I have the parts cleaned up well enough. I have not tried to put it together yet, so this is the first time I've tried to do that. So there you can see I made a little screw separator tray that I could screw up on the wall, have screws in here or something. You know, you could just keep anything in there. Well, admittedly, it took me a while to get the Gluwphy laser cutter to do its thing. But now that I've got everything tuned in really well, I can tell you right now this is a really fine machine. It does a real good job cutting. You can see that it's cutting out this box on the first pass. This is 3mm plywood. My settings are 100% power and 400 millimeters per minute. And it's cutting right through it, no problem at all. So in closing, my friends, I think the Gluwphy laser cutter is very nicely made. I love the case on it. I love the lid. I like generally how it functions, how actually easy it is to use, all of that. It's got a couple of quirks, you know, as you saw. Those connectors, they don't seem to want to stay connected for some reason. You know, I fixed it once. I had to fix it a second time on those connectors. Can't quite give it a 10, but I do think it's a pretty decent machine. And just so you know, I'm glad to have it. Thank you so much to Gluwphy for sending it to me.